like we can understand you're kind of a lot, but like sprinkle sprinkle pay my bills. And they're like, no, we don't
Wow.
want to do that. We basically want everything for free. Men got way too greedy, so they're not gonna like the karma that's headed straight for them, because a lot of us are going, you know what, maybe not sprinkle sprinkle, you know, maybe not sprinkle sprinkle. In fact,
Then
I can
what?
make my own money, and I like making my own money.
Exactly.
I can make my own money, lots of it, pay my own bills, and I can have a robot.
Ah.
Now we are cooking with gas, people.
What's up, guys?
What is up indeed? What is up indeed?
Sprinkle, sprinkle, pay our bills, and I can have a robot. Yes, my queen.
Now you see what
So yeah, I was watching this video by Replicant Fish, love his channel. Check it out. But so I want to talk about this woman. I mean, you look into her eyes. She got some like dead eyes, like has like 1,000 dick stare. You know what I mean? Like some of these women, like they gotta. I don't think they done seen too many dicks or something. Like this, like fucking dead eyes, and then talking this degenerate bullshit, right? And there's a lot I want to say about this. Like, you know, I started off talking about a dream. I had a dream um, about, I had this dream maybe 10 years ago, 12 years ago. And in the dream, I was walking, I went to sleep, woke up in a dream. I was like kind of invisible on this beach watching this scene play out. And in the scene, it was like a group of men, and they kind of walked up on, like, it was a woman, you know, like coming down. I guess they were coming up. And um, things were messed up. Like the world was not. You could tell something had happened, right? Like things were in disarray. Like buildings, I don't know, earthquake, you know, missile strike, war, or something, right? And I was on the coast. Could have been Pacific or East Coast. It had to have been a coastline. Maybe the southern coast. I don't know. But I was on the coastline of an ocean, you know. And as I was walking, as I was standing there watching, and they crossed each other's path, the men. I thought I was thinking to myself in a dream. I thought they were going to rape this woman, and or whatever. It was worse than that. They didn't rape her. They just killed her on sight. Like when they saw her, they had like bats and shit. So and she didn't run because I guess she didn't suspect that something was going to happen. You know what I mean? Like she just kind of like was walking like fuck it and walked by them, and then they kind of veered over toward her and then surrounded her, and then they just killed her and walked away. They like beat her with bats and sticks and shit, just killed her, and then they just kept walking like, you know what I mean? Hey, pass the beer, you know what I mean? That type of shit. And it was a crazy scene. I was like, shit, what the fuck did I just see? And then I woke up. And I never forgot that dream. It was, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, 12 years ago. And I wrote it down in my dream book. I recommend everybody write their dreams down. Um, Sometimes they come true. So it's cool to write them down because then you can be like, oh shit, this is the dream I had. And then, you know, you notice, you can document the precognitive status of the dream. Anyway, so, you know, so when I came across this video this morning, I got to thinking about that dream. And she talked about karma. She was like, karma, yeah, the men's karma. And I was looking at her with this dead, 1,000 dick dead stare in her eyes. I mean, these black, dead eyes with these fake eyelashes, you know? And this weird sense of entitlement or understanding something that she doesn't. And it just made me think about how people in America, particularly, and they spread this all around the world. That's why, like Bob Marley said, total destruction is the only solution. They've destroyed just the fabric of the world itself. You know what I mean? And so these people have no sense. What they do is, from a psychological standpoint, what they've done is they've destroyed two things in people's minds. They've destroyed people's ability to have self-awareness and curiosity in children, right? And this sick, satanic, like Sun Tzu said, when you attack an enemy, you don't attack an enemy, you attack their strategy, right? So I'm just looking at it from a strategic, from a, 1 mile up above the target, looking at this shit as a, micro, macro, right? And you look at it yourself first, and then you look at the world. And so I had to look at what happened to me as a person in my life, and I look at the world, my children, my family, everything around me. And like you look at these people, and you look at what's happening to them. So they destroy people's sense of self-awareness, right? For starters, and it's like a person that can't see, like a vampire, right? You know, vampires can't see their reflection in a mirror. That's what it means not to have self-awareness, right? So a vampire is like a shapeshifter that can shift into different animals, and also its vampiric form, which is a blood-sucking creature that it's become, and then it shifts back into a humanoid, which is an interesting story, right? Shapeshifters, but when it walks in front of a mirror, it doesn't cast a shadow. That's how you know it's a vampire, not a regular human. It's the giveaway, right? That's that's symbolic of self-awareness. Like these people, the psychopathy and the psychosis that affects American and Americanized people all over the world comes from the fact that these people they're not given a mirror, number one. They're given propaganda. And then number two, they can't see themselves in the mirror like the vampires. They lack self-awareness, you see? And then from the mind control, right? And the brainwashing, the propaganda forces them, it rewires their brains to the point where they don't see what what they are. They don't see themselves for the vampire that they are when they walk in front of the mirror. Right? I saw a picture one time. It was like a kitten who looked into the mirror and saw a lion. They see themselves as something they are not. That's not something that you can easily change. Right? Like, you can't convince, like if you come across a mentally ill person sitting outside of 7-Eleven who thinks they see pink elephants with wings flying by, you can stand there all day. You're not going to convince this man that he doesn't see pink elephants with wings flying by. Because when he looks out of his eyes, that's what he sees in the picture. That's what he pictures in his deranged mental state. Like this woman. They can't see themselves for what they are. None of them. I mean, you look at her dead eyes with this 1,000-dick stare. Right? And so they don't see the destructionists that they don't, but they're just pawns. But people don't see the destruction within themselves and within society, right? They don't see that. They just say, well, this is, whatever agenda is that I got, right? Whether it's an alphabet agenda or feminazi agenda or Nazi agenda or whatever it is, right? They just say, well, this is what it is. It's like a fish doesn't see the water that he's swimming in. They just say, well, this is what it is and it's good. Whatever it is I got going on, right? They look into the mirror and like the vampire, they don't see anything. And if they do see something, it's like the kitten who sees itself as a lion. They see themselves as something that they are not. Now that's most people, particularly in areas like the America, Europe, whatever, Americanized people. You see, like the Asian in Thailand at the bleaching center, bleaching their skin, doesn't see anything wrong with that. They think, well, this is just the way it is, like the fish in the water. I just bleach my skin. I need to be whiter. They don't see that something influenced them to do that. They don't see the thing that influenced them to bleach their skin in Thailand. Right? Or they don't see, like whatever influencing people. You know what I mean? They don't see it. Like this woman, she doesn't see what has influenced her to say that men are going to get their karma. She thinks men are going to get their karma because they're not as supportive of her giving her money and doing whatever she wants, her view of the world that she's been given by these crazy ass women around, that push this, and it ain't even coming from them. It's coming from a transhumanist agenda, probably high up the food chain, like an alien agenda. Right? So, but she can't see that. She says men are gonna get their karma because men are not supportive enough of giving her money and doing what the fuck she says. So she's gonna get a robot and fuck it, right? And make her own money, right? So she'll fuck robots. She'll fuck men, random men on the street, in nightclubs, bars, restaurants, robots, dogs. She'll fuck whatever. But as long as she don't gotta listen to a man or be subject to a man, male authority. Okay, bitch, that's insane. But nobody can tell this woman that. You're fucking insane. You do see that, right? Nobody tells me what to do. I don't need a man. Wait a minute. But you're talking about fucking dogs, robots, random men, just so you can do whatever you want, not be subject to a man. Is that what? If that's not a satanic agenda, I don't know what is. I'm just saying. If at the end of the day, if that's not considered a satanic agenda, you tell me what it is. You tell me what a satanic agenda is, right? Something evil, wicked, satanic, divergent, degenerate. If that's not a degenerate, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. That's all I'm saying. Like I'm not stuck on stupid. If I'm wrong and you can present some information to me, I'll update my information. But it seems degenerate, not progressive, if you're willing, for the sake of because God, and when I say God, I mean in the sense of nature itself, built men and women to come together as a unit, to have children, families, communities, etc. Right? I don't think that's a hard sell. I don't think you gotta be a sociologist and a scientist to understand that concept, right? Or even be religious. To think that nature, God, whatever you want to call it, made men and women to come together. You see? That's why women get pregnant by men, et cetera, stupid. Do I really have to explain that to an adult? Or even a teenager, right? Or even a small child, right? But, so, but you, like this woman, for example, feels like she doesn't have to listen. That men are not, because of the agenda, men are not necessary. And you must, you're going to get karma if you don't do what I tell you, if you don't do what women want. If a man is not subject to the whims of a woman and sprinkle, whatever the fuck she's talking about, give them money and let them dictate to men an agenda, right? Over household, child, work, whatever, right? I am woman, hear me roar, all that kind of type shit, right? Then I'm going to just be independent, make money, take that money, buy robots, buy sex robots, right? Not only, but I mean, you're going to fuck this robot and you're going to fuck random men, robots, you're independent, right? I mean, what kind of degeneracy and how is society going to look while you're pushing this agenda? How far are you going with this? Right? Before it goes off the rail, it goes south, as they say. And when it goes south, what does it look like? I think I saw that in my dream. I was seeing into the future. That this is the woman on the beach. She didn't get her robot. She got something much worse. You see? She didn't get her sex machine, right? Her male robot slave. She got something She got a fucking horror movie. A dystopian horror nightmare is what they created. And that's where they're going. You see, because our male counterparts are the ones, you know, probably on the Russian border with troops, right? Or killing 200,000 people in Gaza and Syria right now. You see what I'm saying? So this is just a symptom. This woman is a symptom of a bigger satanic problem. That's all. It's right. It's not that complicated when you think about it. It's a fucking disease that has infected the planet in different forms, right? And it manifests in like a woman like this who is telling you she is ready. She's not only, obviously, this woman is promiscuous, right? She'll fuck a robot. What won't she fuck? If she'll sleep with robots, she'll sleep with dogs, animals, random men, robots. This is the type of women they're breeding in America. Right? Who says, listen, I don't want to be subject to no man. I just want to have this degenerate behavior. And if you deal with me, then I'm going to tell you how shit goes. What real man is going to deal with that? No man is going to deal with that kind of shit. Right? Except like a very weak dude, you let a woman just tell you what to do all the time and dictate and fuck you over. Right? I'm not saying you don't have, you know, women don't get away with shit in relationships, but I'm just saying at a certain point you have to draw a line with these females. All right? So this is going to get out of control at some point in the future. And I think that's what the dream was trying to tell me. Like, back then, I had no concept of this shit I'm talking about right now. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, 10 years ago, I had no concept of what I'm discussing with you at the moment. I couldn't see it. Now I can. Like, when I watched this, the dream came right to me. I was like, shit. You know what? This bitch is crazy. That's what the dream was about. Men are not going to allow you to do this. And society, I mean, it's going to come apart because of this. Right now, you got, for instance, you don't believe me. You say, oh, man, come on, man. You're being bombastic. You're an idiot. Okay. The statistics right now in relationships, I think it's like 60% of men under the age of 30 are not unmarried, sexless, no fiance, no girlfriend, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it's the opposite for women. It's an imbalance in the force. You don't understand that? You don't get it? What do you think happens when that number gets to a tipping point? What happens is what I saw in that dream. All hell breaks loose. All fucking hell breaks loose and the whole thing breaks down. Do you think her attitude, she said men's karma. Listen, it's a lot of y'all getting ready to get y'all karma. But how do you think, for instance, this woman fares under a different paradigm? Like, that attitude works now. If shit get destabilized and you don't have a 800-pound sex robot to protect you, well, it could get super ugly. For random females just walking down the street talking shit to people. Right? Safe to say it may not be safe outside for you. Okay? Particularly if you, like this woman, uses a shit-talking female, and you just kind of run up on a random group of guys, or, you know, you see some guys and you just say, fuck, you know, hey, fuck you, you know, whatever, I do whatever I want. You ain't got no man with you, nobody with you, whatever. Things have changed, and you don't have a 800-pound sex robot to fight off of any, somebody that wants to do you harm, to rip their arms off like, RoboCop or something. Then what? Then you fucked. You see? This is the psychopathy of the society that, particularly America and places like that, have been Americanized. I mean, this is, because it's going to go south. This woman thinks men have to get their karma for not bowing down to women. This is what she thinks. These type of people think. Men's karma is women with sex robots. Fucking robots. Right? That's men's karma? What are you talking about? Are you insane? And are you insane? Yes. The question to that answer to that is yes. Any woman that would want that is obviously mentally unstable, right? I don't think I have to make the point that any woman, any man who says, you know what, I don't want a normal relationship, ordained by nature itself, right? Built into the fabric of it. I want to go fuck a robot. I want a robot. All right, dude, you're a little weird. If anything, I can see you say, man, I want 3 wives or 5 wives or whatever. Okay, that sounds normal. You poly or something. Okay. Men used to be like that. The king, might have had a wife and some concubines or whatever. Okay. I can dig it. You say, man, listen, I'm going to bang this robot over here. Okay, I can't dig that. You know what I mean? That's not something I can get with. That's weird. So a woman saying, listen, I can't wait to get some money to give men their karma, men that won't give me money and give me agency to do whatever I want. Fuck over the kids. It doesn't matter. I can do whatever I want. Just give me money, house, cars, whatever. Well, and let me just do me. And don't say shit, right? I tell you what to do. Just give me the money. Or, I'm going to be fucking these robots. You're sick of it. These people are sick. And to her, a person with no self-awareness, this seems normal. This is the normal, this is normal. This is America. This is normal people. This is the Americanized, westernized, whatever you want to call it. This is these people, this is how they look at the world. And you can't tell them like, yo, this is degenerate. This is satanic. This is evil and wicked. You shouldn't be fucking robots, first of all. And 2, men are not to be subject to women. It's the other way around. Right? This is, I don't know. I don't want to make this too long, but I don't know how to I don't know if I'm making a point. Right? But Replicant Fish made a good point with this shit here. And it just took me back to the dream I had. Like, this shit is going, he said it's going to be a horror movie and what he was in the rest of the video. But I'll link the video. But he's right. Particularly for women. Particularly for the ones that's late to the party, right, and don't get it. They're going to be on that, hey, I don't need a man. Nobody tell me what to do. Right? No matter how, even though the shit is just going off the rails, they can't take the temperature in the room. Right? Whether it's fire, earthquake, missile strike, alien invasion, whatever, right? They think everything's still the same. Right? They want to show you a feminist manifesto, right? In the midst of all this shit going on. Economic collapse, you name it, right? Because the shit is, I'm not trying to be, Dr. Doom, but it's obvious this shit is going south quickly. And I'm saying in the face of that, you want to wave your feminist manifesto in a man's face, in a group of men's face. I don't think that shit is going to wash. Right? I don't think that's going, I don't think that's going to work out. For real. I don't know what the fuck you think this is like, Themyscira and y'all gonna band together and be Wonder Woman and conquer the men or some shit like that. Like, this is not a movie, dog. This is real fucking life. This is not a movie. This is not Wonder Woman. This is not Lara Croft, right? Where you beat up 10 men and do karate on 20 men. What the fuck is wrong with these women? Like, that's not real life. You do know that, right? You do know a man could kill you with one punch. The average woman, I could kill him with one punch. I don't give a fuck who you are. I mean, I'm an old dude now, but I can muster up enough that if I connect with you with a shot, particularly a woman, like that woman, right? I'll kill you. I'll break your whole fucking neck. So you can't beat men up. I mean, it's just not a reality. It's just not reality. You can't beat your husband. Now, maybe you can get off maybe grab a knife or a gun. Okay, that's different. But, I mean, I'm just saying, generally, men, you're not the same as a man. And even if you grab a knife or a gun, he may be able to get it from you. Men are stronger than women. You better get him in the back or something. If he's more, versed with the weapons, you know what I mean? You're not going to make it. Better wake up. Well, it's too late for that. Don't wake up. You're going to deal with, what it is. It is what it is. And I would tell women, like, don't listen to this show. Don't let this woman drag you to hell. Right? To put it in biblical terms. Because that's what it's going to be if the situation shifts, like in my dream. If the situation shifts and the shit that you was on, you still on. You see what I'm saying? Like the world has changed. You trying to mail a fucking letter. We got the internet now. Just send an email. You on Pony Express, motherfucker. We don't need Pony Express. We got internet now. Right? People moving from cash to crypto. Shit like that. Things are changing. So when things change, if you try to do the same thing, you're going to get crushed. So if this thing shifts in a way it's not conducive to feminism, like this rabbit shit, this degenerate feminist shit that she's talking, and then you as a female try it, how do you think it's going to work out for you? I'm just saying, like, just real talk. Just keeping it 100. You really think that shit's going to fly? You going to beat up? What are you going to walking around beating men up? You going to walk around, what, shoot some men or whatever? You and your girlfriends? And walk around and, like, fight men? I mean, I don't understand. Like, what do you think is actually going to happen? How do you think the world shapes up in a different context? It only works if the satanic system that has been installed and is spread throughout the planet continues to manifest itself in the way that it is. If it doesn't, and it will fall apart sooner than later, and you try the same shit that you're doing now under a crumbling system, what happens to you? Does it work? I mean, I'll tell you, you're not going to make it. You're going to have to change with the times. You're going to have to adapt and realize, oh, okay, that shit played out. That shit played out like the bump. Right? And if you don't, congratulations, you played yourself. Right? Simple as that. So, I mean, I don't know how many different ways I could explain it. But that's not a far off reality. It's just not. I mean, look at what happened with the California wildfires, right? What happened? As soon as that shit got out of control, what happened? People started looting. Groups of men everywhere looting. Shit like that. You dig what I'm saying? They got to call in the National Guard, the cops, to try to get control of the situation. Soon that might be everywhere for different reasons, not just wildfires. You think people give a fuck about, when you had, like, for instance, in that scenario where you had all these looters, which are groups of men coming into an area that's devastated by some type of disaster or whatever. And you say, well, and some woman, some independent, women or woman or whatever. How do you think she fares in a situation like that? With no men around. And then what happens when you have alienated the men to the degree that they don't want to put their life on the line for you. You know, fuck you and your kids. Right? I mean, because that's where we're going. Where you got 60% of the men in the United States and in different places that don't have wives, girlfriends, or, they don't even have chicks that they freaking off with. They don't have wives. They don't have girlfriends, fiancés. They don't have an, occasional fling. They got nothing. They got nothing but bitches like this talking shit all over the internet about how they're gonna fuck robots, and they don't need a man, right? And if you come into their life, you better do what she tell you to do, or you're gonna get your karma, and they're gonna be fucking robots. What do you think gonna happen when that gets to 70%, or 80%, or 90%? I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to live in a world like that. Do you think if we had 60%, ask yourself, I don't give a fuck how dumb you are, how stupid you are, if you agree with this woman or women like this, that this is normal and makes sense. What do you think? Now we at 60% now, look at society. What do you think this shit looks like at 80%? What do you think it looks like at 80 or 90% of women, of men don't have wives, girlfriends, they're not having flings, no type of, even a fling, right? With a random chick, no sex at all, they're just sexless. Relationships don't exist at 80%. You got 80% of guys, that's their existence. They're just going to work, just existing, hanging out, whatever they're doing. What do you think the world will look like? At what point do you think there's a breaking point? And what does that breaking point look like? In her eyes, it looks like women buying sex robots and fucking the sex robots. Right? I don't know. I guess if we got to that point, it would drive it up to 90% of men, right? Maybe 95% of men don't have wives, children, girlfriends, fiancés, or any type of sex partner, like a fling or nothing. They got nothing. They got porn, right? Or something or nothing. They just, What do you think the world looks like? You think it's safer for women, or that's a safe environment? Because I don't think that's a safe environment. I'm going to just give it to you, give you the game, and I'm going to go. That's not a safe environment for women at that point. I think it's going to tip over. And then that dream I had starts to manifest itself. You see? And the dystopian nightmare that this woman talked about of women fucking robots, right? And I guess their robot boyfriend beating your ass if you get out of line. It's not gonna happen. She can dream all she wants. That's not gonna happen. What's gonna happen is the worst case scenario for her and women like her and women in general. The shit is gonna tip over and become destabilized, right? And you're gonna be in an environment where it just doesn't click. It doesn't work. Where you better not be caught outside without maybe 2 men with you. Right? That's what's going to probably happen. I'm not saying it's going to exist for a long period, but you're going to go through a period where if you go outside, you better be with your father and your brother, or your father and your husband, or your 2 brothers, or your cousin and your uncle. Right? You better not be running around in the fucking, looting zone or wherever the fuck it is, right? Like you Wonder Woman. Or you got an 800-pound sex robot with you that's going to take care of anybody that tries to jump on you like RoboCop. That's not happening. The opposite is going to happen. You're not going to have your 800-pound security sex robot. And shit is going to go off the rails. Okay? And if you try to run around by yourself, right? I don't give a fuck if you got a gun, a knife, whatever. And you some woman, and you trying to run around by yourself like you Lara Croft or some fucking body, right? You're not going to make it very long. That's because that's not how women wasn't designed to just be in environments. They're not designed to be in the jungle alone. Whether I don't know if you know that or not as females, you weren't designed to. You got to this point because of men, groups of men protecting you. The men, same men you're trying to get rid of for sex robots right now, and all this bullshit, whatever, right? You just want to do prostitution and sex robots. What? You think that's gonna work in the near future? You gotta be out of your fucking minds. You don't see where this is going? Safe to say, when it snaps, and you got 80% of men, it ain't gonna, trust me, that shit gonna snap way before then. It may snap this year. But when you got 80% of men have no relationship, and here's another thing before I go. What do you think if a man sees you like the damsel in distress? If you, like the way this woman is, if this continues and you got 70, 80% of men being treated like this, do you think they give a shit about any woman on the street? Like, oh, my car broke down, right? If it ain't their mother or sister or somebody like that, they probably ain't gonna give a fuck about you, to be honest. The environment is gonna be so toxic that, you know what I mean? Cause like, I'm like that now, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like some chick, it was raining, she's like, oh, can you give me and my daughter a ride across the street? I was coming out the market. I'm like, fuck no. Right? She's like, you know, can you give me and my, maybe she wanted to, you know, kick it with me, I don't know, whatever. But she was like, can you give me and my daughter a ride? It's pouring down raining. My car was like, you know, 100 feet away. I just run over and jump in the car. She's like, can you give me and my daughter a ride? It's pouring down rain. I live right across the street over here. I was like, fuck no. I went and got my car and left. And that's going to be the same environment that you're going to be in. But it's going to be even worse because it's not going to just be raining. You see? It's not going to be just raining and you're going to need a ride across the street with your daughter. It's going to be something much worse probably. So. And you're not going to have an 800-pound sex robot to protect you. It's not a movie, dog. This is real life. So get ready. Charlie,